PGWP holder having non-credit program, are they eligible for new EI's PNP or not? Um, if you are referring to Alberta's PNP, yes. If you are not, if you have not completed the course out of one of those authorized institutions for the Alberta PNP, you will still not qualify for the expression of interest for the PNP. The program remains same for Alberta PNP. It's just how they will accept the applications. They've just changed the intake process. That's all. I applied for the visitor visa in July but not received any update. Mariam, do submit a web form requesting an update. But yes, there are few visitor visa applications which are in the backlog at this point. Upsana says, I just completed my diploma in biotechnology, 2-year bachelor's from back home. What step should I take next? Um, if you are planning to come to Canada at this point, if you've done a bachelor's, I would highly recommend you to do either a master's program in Canada if you want to directly qualify for any kind of post graduation work permit, or let's say a PR pathway. For example, let's say you're going to do that in Ontario, you're going to qualify for the Master's Graduate Stream Provincial Nomination Program. It's one of the best programs. The threshold for the scores, it's not that high as well, so you would still be able to meet that threshold without any work experience. But if not, I would recommend you to first gain some experience, at least 1 year prior to getting into Canada, if you want to qualify for the express entry, because the points system, it's quite high at this point. Goldie says, good morning. I've not done VES yet. I'm eligible for international student stream program only on a Canadian degree. Um, so basically, when we say international student stream category, that stream is specifically for people who have graduated from Canadian institutions, which are eligible and in the list of international student stream. Now the question is whether you have to do VES or not. It depends how you claimed those points. If you claimed points based on the fact that you have a highest education outside Canada, which is, let's say, a master's or bachelor's, then yes, you have to provide VES for that. Otherwise, you don't. We do not provide any preparation material for IELTS. You can contact our office, Rajveer, at 905-495-8500. One-year experience forklift operator in Brampton. Which program would be applicable? Manish, ਤੁਸੀਂ occupation in demand category ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ apply ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ if you have a job offer, but of course ਜਿਹੜਾ forklift operator ਦਾ occupation ਆ, it's only applicable in outside GTA cities. It's not applicable for inside GTA. So ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ Brampton ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਹੀ employer ਲੱਭਣਾ ਪਊਗਾ। ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਦੇਖਣੇ ਪੈਣਗੇ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਉਸੇ employer ਨਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ job offer ਦੇਣਾ ਹੈ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ additionally 3 points ਉਹਦੇ expression of interest 'ਚ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ। So ਡੂ ਕੈਲਕੂਲੇਟ ਯੂਰ ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ, ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਏਰੀਆ 'ਚ ਮਿਲ ਰਹੀ ਆ। ਅਗਰ ਨਾਰਦਰਨ ਓਨਟੇਰੀਆ 'ਚ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਆ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਟਿਮਿਨਸ ਆ, ਸਡਬਰੀ, ਨਾਰਥ ਬੇ, ਥੰਡਰ ਬੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਏਰੀਆ ਆਫ ਇੰਪਲੋਇਮੈਂਟ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਐਕਸਟਰਾ ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ। Manjot, I have 1 year experience as a supervisor, but still not have enough points to apply for express entry. How can I increase my scores? Manjot, the question is, how far along are you with those scores? Agar tusi 400 te ho, then of course express entry is out of question. Fir tunu rely karna pena ya provincial nominations te. ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੈਟਸ ਸੇ 450 ਤੇ ਹੋ, ਫਿਰ ਯੈਸ 50 ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਐਲਐਮਆਈ ਦੇ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ, ਪੋਸਿਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। ਆਪਣੀ ਆਇਲਸ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ, ਪੋਸਿਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। ਬਟ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਸੀਈਸੀ ਦੇ ਡਰਾਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਕੁ ਦੂਰ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ। 50 ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਦੂਰ ਹੋ, 100 ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਦੂਰ ਹੋ, ਕਿ 150 ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਦੂਰ ਹੋ। ਦੈਨ ਅਕੋਰਡਿੰਗਲੀ ਯੂ ਹੈਵ ਟੂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੀ ਪਾਥਵੇ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ। Okay. I'm working as a security guard from 1.5 years in Ontario. I did business, and from India, I did +2. What can I do to get PR? Please suggest. If you've been working for, as a security guard in Ontario, of course, it's a tier 4 position. It's not going to help you. There is no direct pathway for security guards in Ontario, but you could choose an alternate province. Nova Scotia does, help with the security guard experience. So on the first paycheck, if you have a job offer from an employer as a security guard supervisor, you could apply again on the first paycheck. If not, let's say they're giving you a job offer for security guard, then you can work with them for 6 months, and then you can file your application under their skilled worker category. Baz says masters in civil after BTech and diploma 1 year, CAD trainer, 1.5 year civil engineer experience India, and 7 months experience as a production supervisor. Which pathway? Um, as a civil engineer, they're targeting under their STEM occupations only if you have an exceptional score, of course, because they're targeting at high score under the STEM category. That could be an option. Otherwise, you can also explore human capital priority stream where they are targeting tech occupations. Again, in terms of your 7 months experience as production supervisor, it depends where your profile is, to be honest, at this point. Whether we are lacking with the scores, whether your civil engineer experiences within the last 5 years or within last 3 years. Accordingly, you will qualify for different programs. Rav Kaur asks, we can get the work permit in the border. What's the process, and it's hard or easy? Rav, which work permit are you talking about? At this point, if you are talking about a post graduation work permit, no, you cannot get it at a port of entry, as in the border. But if we're talking about spousal open work permits, yes, you can go, but it's not recommended. Always do an application online first, if you are not ready to be questioned by the CBSA officer. Any update on tier 4 and 5 program? No, there has been no update, and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon as well. Ma'am, food service supervisor LMI can got PR. ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਫੂਡ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਸੁਪਰਵਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਦੀ LMI ਕੱਲੀ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ PR ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਦੇਣੀ। ਐਕਸਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਐਂਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਕੋਰਸ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਆ ਉਹ LMI ਲੈਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਡਿਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਦਾ ਆ। ਅਗਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਕੋਰਸ ਦੀ, 450 ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਸਕੋਰ ਆ, 50 ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ LMI ਨਾਲ 500 ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਡੈਫੀਨਿਟਲੀ CEC ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ, ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ 1 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈਗਾ, ਪੋਸੀਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। ਬਟ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ 400 ਸਕੋਰ ਆ, LMI ਲੈ ਕੇ 450 ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚਦੇ ਹੋ, ਇਟਸ ਨਾਟ ਗੋਇੰ ਟੂ ਹੈਲਪ ਯੂ। ਕੋਈ ਟਾਰਗੇਟ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਗੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ, ਸੋ ਯੂ ਹੈਵ ਟੂ ਫਾਈਂਡ alternatives with that. 5 years experience and diploma GNM. So me, yes, it is possible that you could qualify under the express entry healthcare category based selection. Also, you might qualify for the provincial nominations of Ontario under their human capital priority stream if you are registered with CNO as well. So we need to assess your profile to see कि तुसी कित्थों तक stand करदे हो. But then IELTS is a mandatory requirement out of all these express entry based programs. अगर थोड़ी IELTS weak at this point the draws are very high, so we need to see कि तुसी किन्ना क qualify कर सकदे हो, किन्ना क थोड़ी profile improve कर सकदी है IELTS दे नाल, and then accordingly you'll have your options. Autism and behavioral science would fall under which field of study? Health or social and behavioral sciences? It's going to be social and behavioral sciences. Jasukor, I have 1.5 years experience in UK as healthcare visa. If I want to apply for Canada in same field, can I get the work permit or PR? Jasu, work permit in Canada are not similar to what happens in UK. If you need a work permit in Canada, you need to get an LMI first. That's how you get your work permit, and then subsequently, you'll have your PR options. But if you have 1.5 years of experience, we need to see what kind of education you have. If you have grade 12, let's say, or let's say you have a bachelor's degree as well, you need to see how much you're getting in your express entry, because that's a direct pathway without a job offer. If you don't have enough points in the express entry, it might not help. On the other hand, when we talk about job, it has to be under the tier 0, 1, 2, 3 category. If it's a tier 4 or 5, it will not work again. Which is which is the best PNP or express entry for healthcare worker with 2 year experience? Um, Express entry healthcare draws are applicable to you. You can create a profile, but then additionally, you're also going to be targeted by Ontario under the human capital priority stream. It's an express entry based application. Now, you just have to keep a profile in the pool and you select that, yes, I'm interested in Ontario, and they will target you. You cannot apply on your own. They have to target you. And once they do, you'll be able to file an application for PNP. I created an application under OINP, but without receiving any update, the status shows withdrawn by OINP. I wonder why. Alicia, it happens when you don't meet the eligibility of the program, so it automatically withdraws and it shows that it's withdrawn by OINP. I've applied for closed work permit on knock code B, job high wage in LMI, and I've received medical request from IRCC. Is it a positive sign for my file or not? Yes, it does look like a positive sign, Ajit Pal, because medicals are usually processed usually before they finalize the application and give a decision. Visitor can extend their visa. Rajpreet, yes, if you are a visitor in Canada, you can extend your visa through the visitor record process. I'm looking to extend my spouse open work permit into PR and don't have enough points. Can you guide me? Yes, I can guide you. You can book an appointment and definitely we can talk over your options. Healthcare draw ਆ ਸਕਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਜਸਰਾਜ we do see ਕਿ ਹਜੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਟਾਸ ਅਸਾਈਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਪਏ ਆ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਸੋ ਆਈ ਡੂ ਬਲੀਵ ਕਿ ਹੈਲਥ ਕੇਅਰ ਦਾ ਟਰਾਂਸਪੋਰਟ ਦਾ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਦਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਡਰਾਜ਼ ਇੱਕ ਇੱਕ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਆਊਗਾ ਇਸ ਸਾਲ ਵਾਸਤੇ if anyone wants to change the course in the same college, is it possible? Yes, Kuldeep, absolutely, it's possible. If you want to change your course in the same college, you can reach out to your admissions department and they can assist you with the process. Suraj says, I'm studying non-credit business management diploma program for 2 years in Calgary. So can I apply for Calgary PNP and my brother is PR? Now I'm working full-time as security guard in Calgary. See, when we talk about these non-credit programs, it's only about that one specific program, the opportunity stream, where you are a graduate of Alberta and you are getting a job offer in your field of education, and after 6 months, you are able to file your PNP. But with non-credit, as in non-recognized programs, you cannot file under this category. Then you have to get an LMI, or you have to go through the express entry process for Alberta PNP, but then you just cannot avail that 6 month program that Alberta PNP has for their own graduates. ਅਮਨਦੀਪ ਬੈਂਸ ਜੀ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟਰ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਤੋਂ ਵਰਕ ਲੈਣਾ ਟਰੱਕ ਦੀ ਐਲਐਮਆਈ ਤੇ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਸਹੀ ਰਹੇ ਜਾਣ ਲਈ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਯੂਏਈ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਆ 2 year ਤੇ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਏਜ਼ੀ ਲਾਇਸੈਂਸ ਵੀ ਆ ਅਮਨਦੀਪ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਤੇ ਬਟ ਇਟ ਡਿਪੈਂਡਸ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜੌਬ ਆਫਰ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਮਿਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਲਐਮਆਈ ਲਈ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਨਿਊ ਬ੍ਰੰਸਵਿਕ ਦੇ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਨਾ ਸੋ ਵੀ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਹੈਵ ਟੂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਨੀਅਰੈਸਟ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਜੌਬ ਆਫਰ ਆ ਐਂਡ ਅਕੋਰਡਿੰਗਲੀ ਯੂ ਹੈਵ ਟੂ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਲੈਟਸ ਸੀ no, Jasraj, there's no official notification that healthcare draws have been paused. They are still there, and then again, nahi haje pause nahi hoye. You just have to wait for that draws to open. Okay, next. Are applicants still claim refugee in Edmonton or Alberta? Baz, refugees ਦਾ ਐਡਮਿੰਟਨ ਅਲਬਰਟਾ ਨਾਲ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਲੈਣਾ ਦੇਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਰੈਫਿਊਜੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਲੈਣਾ ਦੇਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਹੁਣ ਇਟਸ ਅ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਖਤਰਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੈਫਿਊਜੀ ਕਲੇਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ, irrespective of the province you're going to be living in. Okay. So there's another question which says, I'm a barber, just got work permit. Any suggestions to PR? Yes, as a barber, since it's a tier three position, you could check the express entry scores definitely. But no, it's not going to qualify you for trade occupations. I'm studying in computer programming, but along with that, I did PSW course with 82%. ਕਿੰਨੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ? ਮੈਂ ਪੀਆਰ ਦੀ ਫਾਈਲ ਲਾ ਸਕਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਪੀਐਸਡਬਲਿਊ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਦੇ ਬੇਸ ਤੇ। ਇੱਕ ਬੜਾ ਹੀ ਕਾਮਨ ਮਿਸਕਨਸੈਪਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਵਰਕਰ ਦਾ ਕੋਰਸ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਦਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਗੇਨ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੀਆਰ ਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਐਬਸੋਲੂਟਲੀ ਨਾਟ। ਅਗਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਐਕਸਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਐਂਟਰੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਨੀਮਮ 1 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਪ੍ਰੋਫਾਈਲ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਬੈਕ ਹੋਮ ਤੋਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਐਕਸਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਐਂਟਰੀ 'ਚ ਐਂਟਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ 2-3 ਰਸਤੇ ਆ ਫॉर ਨਾਓ। ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਕਲਾਸ ਕੈਟੇਗਰੀ, ਫੈਡਰਲ ਸਕਿਲਡ ਵਰਕਰ ਕੈਟੇਗਰੀ, ਫੈਡਰਲ ਸਕਿਲਡ ਟ੍ਰੇਡਸ ਕੈਟੇਗਰੀ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਕਲਾਸ ਕੈਟੇਗਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਐਂਟਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਪੂਲ 'ਚ, ਦੈਨ ਯੂ ਨੀਡ ਟੂ ਹੈਵ ਮਿਨੀਮਮ 1 ਈਅਰ ਆਫ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਇਨ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ FSW ਫੈਡਰਲ ਸਕਿਲਡ ਵਰਕਰ ਕੈਟੇਗਰੀ 'ਚੋਂ ਐਂਟਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਦੈਨ ਯੂ ਹੈਵ ਟੂ ਮੀਟ ਅ ਗ੍ਰਿਡ ਜਿਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਰਿਕੁਆਇਰਮੈਂਟ ਹੈ 67 ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਆਊਟ ਆਫ 100 ਦੀ। ਲਾਸਟਲੀ ਅਗਰ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਯੂ ਨੀਡ 2 years of experience in the last 5 years in the trade occupations to qualify. ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤਿੰਨਾਂ ਰਸਤਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਂਟਰ ਕਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ, then comes the ਜਿਹੜਾ CRS comprehensive ranking system ਆ। Then you are scored based on those experience, education, age, language, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੋਡਿਊਲਸ ਆ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ। ਹੁਣ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ 6 months ਦਾ PSW ਦਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਆ, it will not like alone ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਊਗਾ। You need to see ਕਿ ਬਾਕੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੀ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ minimum eligibility meet ਕਰ ਸਕੋ express entry ਦੀ। Rajpreet asks, LMI in trucking field without experience, then work permit approved ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ flag polling ਕਰਨ ਨਾਲ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ, because he was fresh license and he did their own business like clothes shop. Rajpreet, it's I don't think so, because work permit ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹਦੀ minimum eligibility ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਦਾ experience prove ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ you have the required experience to do the job। ਜਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੁਣ ਅਗਰ ਲੈਟਸ ਸੇ ਲਾਈਸੈਂਸਿੰਗ ਹੈਗੀ and you're able to convince the officer at the border, let's say ਕਿ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਟਰਕਿੰਗ ਕਰ ਸਕਾਂਗੇ because of so and so training। ਯੂਜੂਅਲੀ ਆਫਿਸਰਸ ਕਨਵਿੰਸ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਐਟ ਅ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ, ਬਟ ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਡਿਫਿਕਲਟ ਹੋਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਆ। For security guard, I have to move to Nova Scotia. I have to get security supervisor position. And can you please tell me the requirements to apply for PR? Is there in Nova Scotia? So, agar tusi, even if they give you a security guard position, you have to work minimum 6 months because it's a tier 4 job offer you're getting. But if they give you a tier 3, as in tier 0, 1, 2, 3, any out of that, related to the experience you have, then you can file on the first paycheck itself. For example, if they give you a supervisor position, you can file on the first paycheck as long as the employer is ready to give you a job offer on the first paycheck. Manjot says, have bachelor's from India, 2 years PG in Canada, 1 year foreign experience, 1 year in skill trade. So I keep my score lower in IELTS to fall under the PNP draws. As PNP draws trends range CRS 400 to 425. Yes, Manjot, that is the situation right now. And yes, if you are targeting Ontario skill trades, you have to keep that range of CRS to qualify for the draws. And it's absolutely, if you don't want to claim points for your experience back home, you can do that as well. After we arrive in Canada and visit a visa, what is the better option to get a legal status? If you're entering Canada as a visitor, that is a legal status. I have done my master's in psychology and addiction and mental health diploma in Canada. I have 2 years experience as a counselor in India. According to you, ma'am, required 2 year diploma or not? I'm sorry, I don't understand your question, Balwinder. You require 2 year diploma for what? I have complete. So Suraj says I have completed bachelor in mechanical engineering and I have 2 year and 9 months of experience in customer care executive, and now I'm January 2024 intake for 2 years diploma. Now I 1 year completed. I'm studying non-credit business management diploma program for 2 years in Calgary. So can I apply for Calgary PNP? I've already suggested you your again, if you're not from an institution which is a part of the Alberta PNP, if it's not recognized institution, you can apply for PNP, but not without LMI based job offer. Visitor visa the extension ਲਈ ਕਿੰਨੇ proof of funds show ਕਰਨੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਆ? Visitor visa the extension ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ sponsor ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, then sponsor will be able to provide job letter, pay slips, funds ਵਗੈਰਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ show ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ if it's one person, ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ account ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 3-4 ਹਜ਼ਾਰ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਵੀ visitor visa ਦੀ extension approve ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ job letter, pay slips ਦੇ basis ਤੇ। Bachelor's degree India experience 3+ years as a procurement executive, 2 years PGDM, planning to go with telecommunication technician or machinist. What are the chances for Ontario PNP? What are your suggestions? Yes, with of course telecommunication technician or machinist, both of those occupations could be targeted. There's one thing. Now we're talking about Ontario skill trades, and we're talking about their targets. We're talking about the draws which are going to happen after a year. Things can change, things can radically change after a year. So you just need to be kind of on top of the immigration updates that are happening both by Ontario, by federal government, so that you know that you are still aligned to the program that you want to apply your permanent residency or PNP through. Can my spouse sponsor me for work permit as a restaurant manager after the announcements of September 18th? She's on PGWP. As of now, the rules are still the same. If she is on a post graduation work permit, she can still sponsor you even if she's a restaurant manager. I have done B.Ed, then I have gap. As per situation in Canada, should I come in Canada at study visa or need to gain experience in teaching or any kind of work to get direct PR? What should I do? Yes, Rupinder, if you still do not have any experience from back home, I do suggest you to have at least 1 year of experience. That's going to help you if you are targeting the express entry pathway. If you've done a bachelor's degree, you can also take a master's degree in Canada. That's going to kind of improve your chances of a study permit approval even further. I have Fahim says I have applied for PGWP with my wife's SOWP at May 24. Still didn't get any update. Do you think I need to reach out to IRCC? At this point, post graduation work permit applications are taking longer. They're taking about 4, 5, 6 months. So even if your application is still in process, you can, yeah, definitely do web forms. You can call them, ask the customer service. If they say that it's still in process, it's still in process. There's nothing more you can do about it. Is there something coming for tier 4 and 5? I work in sales in telecommunications. As of now, there hasn't been any announcement for the tier 4 and 5 programs. So please do not rely on something which has not yet been announced, because they're very strict about it at this point. So waiting for TR to PR, waiting for programs under the tier 4 and 5 category to open, it's not a good idea. Now, even if let's say they open a program for tier 4 and 5, it's going to be specific occupations in tier 4 and 5. It's not going to be for all the tier 4 and 5 occupations. So please, that's another recommendation. Do not rely on something which is still not there. Also, do not rely as on the basis of tier 4 and 5 occupation. The most I see in this category is they would probably target where there is labor shortage, but that's about it. I've completed my study from private college and going to apply LMI for painter to get work permit. Are there any changes for that also? You can apply for sure, that's not a problem, but you need to kind of show that you have relevant experience related to the occupation you want to work in. Can we work 20 hours as a part-time student? No. If you've not maintained your status as a full-time student, you cannot work. Manjeet says, I'm visitor. Can I apply work permits or study permits? You can convert your status from a visitor to study permit, for sure, while you're in Canada. And you can also apply for work permits, but it cannot be done online. It has to be on the border. So you have to go at one of the port of entries, and that's where you can apply for the work permits. Is a CRS score of 458 good for healthcare draws under CEC? Yes, Alicia. 458 is a very good score, and you should expect a draw in the upcoming healthcare express entry draws. I have done BSc nursing and have 12 years experience and passed NCLEX RN exam. I want to move abroad as RN. Can I? Monica, I would suggest you to see whether you can qualify directly without even entering Canada. You could qualify for permanent residency. So do assess your profile under the express entry and see if you qualify right now. You could directly qualify. You give your IELTS, you get your BSc assessed, and you see how much points you're getting, and accordingly, you can find your alternatives. There could also be possibility of provincial nomination under Ontario's healthcare stream. So, human capital priority stream could be one of your targets as well. हाँ जी, ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਸੈਟਿੰਗਸ ਬਹੁਤ ਔਖੀਆਂ ਆ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਹਿੰਗੀਆਂ ਪੈਂਦੀਆਂ ਆ। ਸੋ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਸੋਚ ਸਮਝ ਕੇ ਡਿਸੀਜਨ ਲਿਓ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਐਵੇਂ ਦੀ ਸੈਟਿੰਗ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ। I'm working as a HR professional, working at the leadership role as a senior manager. I've completed 2 years of Canadian experience and overall have 10 plus year experience. Any other option to file PR except express entry? Except express entry, then there's provincial nomination, which means you need a job offer from your employer. But then, of course, it's a very specific question that you've asked, so you need to kind of join an in-person appointment, like one-on-one session to see your application assessment. Okay. For any fees related inquiries, you can contact our office and definitely we can see which program you're referring to. If a person deported from Canada with 1 year ban happened to their profile and then there is not any kind of stamp on passport, is it a positive thing? No, Kuldeep. The stamp has nothing to do with your with your eligibility. In terms of your information about deportation, it's going to be with IRCC. It's related to your passport, your date of birth, your UCI numbers. So they will have record irrespective of a stamp on the passport. स्पाउजल स्पॉन्सरशिप का केस हैंडल करते हैं। हाँ जी, हम स्पाउजल स्पॉन्सरशिप के केसेस हैंडल करते हैं। आप हमारे ऑफिस को कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं, मोहित। It's been 105 days since I applied for restoration and work permit. How long do I have to wait? What's the possibility of getting work permit? It depends what kind of work permit we're talking about. And yes, the processing time for work permits are quite significant at this point. I would say somewhere between 4 to 5 months. I currently study in Canada heating, refrigeration, and air conditioning technician. How much chances for PGWP according to new rules? HVAC is a trade occupation, so yes, it is highly possible that you will be eligible. And of course, if you're already studying in Canada, the new PGWP rules will not be applicable to you. Anybody who's going to submit a study permit application after November 1st will be affected. Prior to that, no effects to the current students, to people who are already studying, who are going to start studying on January 1st, irrespective if this application was made before November 1st, you are not going to be affected by the new PGWP rules. 2 year ਦਾ ਕੋਰਸ ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਵਰਕ ਪਰਮਿਟ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ 1 year ਸਟੱਡੀ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ? ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਬਲਵਿੰਦਰ, ਅਗਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਜੌਬ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਦੀ, 1 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਰਮਨੈਂਟ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸੀ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰਨਾ ਨੀਅਰ ਟੂ ਇੰਪੋਸੀਬਲ ਆ। unless you have a very strong profile ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਤੇ ਰਿਲਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਊਗਾ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਨਾਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਜੌਬ ਆਫਰ ਨਾਲ ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਬਟ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਨਾਲ ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਬਣਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਜਾਂ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਤੇ ਰਿਲਾਈ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਐਲੀਜੀਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਬਣਦੀ ਆ then do not risk applying for a 1 year post graduation work permit. I have done BSc nursing in UK now, and NCLEX passed. Any opportunity for me? It depends on your experience. Do find what kind of experience you have, and accordingly, you'll be able to apply. Solely on the basis of any education, any licensing, there are almost, I would say, no programs. Maybe just one program if you've studied a master's or PhD in the province in respective provinces where you're applying. Otherwise, your education, your licensing doesn't directly qualify you for permanent residency. My spouse is a Canadian citizen. I'm looking for spousal sponsorship for PR. Just received marriage certificate. Do you guys handle such cases? Yes, Mohit, we do handle such cases. You can contact our office at 905-495-8500. Trucking field nowadays is considered in low wage or high wage category. It's not about the occupation, Rajpreet. It's about the area the employer is situated in. So if you're talking about Brampton, of course you have to go with high wage. It depends. If you're, let's say, talking about Niagara region, at this point Niagara region has an unemployment rate below 6%, so they do qualify for low wage category as well. Norman says, I applied for PGWP in May and went to India and came back in July. Am I eligible to work? Maintained status, of course, if you applied, you're on maintained status as long as you applied before you left. If you did apply before you left, then yes, you're still going to be on maintained status, irrespective of you going back and coming. Yes, you're eligible. If we want to convert a visitor to study permit, can I get 2 years master's degree and should I need PAL letter and I need IELTS? They do say that you're going to need PAL letter for masters as well. And yes, even if you're in Canada converting from visitor to study, you're going to need the PAL. But then it depends when you're doing it. If you're doing it before November 1st, you don't need PAL letter as of now, the provincial attestation letter. But after that, you will need for the masters as well. Fahim says, I did Bachelor of Computer Science from Memorial University. I've applied for PGWP and I'm working in IT analyst at Sudbury. Am I eligible for OINP International Graduate Program? Okay. If you're talking about international student stream, yes, but there's no program called International Graduate in Ontario. Sultan says, I'm working as a PSW. Which program is best for me? Ages matter for any program. Yeah, Sultan, only if you're working as a PSW doesn't give you PR options. We need to assess other facts as well. What kind of education you have, how much IELTS do you have, whether you have any job offer or not. So there could be multiple programs. Suraj says, right now I'm working in Calgary as a security guard, so please help me best PNP. I'm ready to change any province for PR or PNP. Suraj, if you're working as a security guard, if you want to target Alberta rural renewal, that could be one of the options. You have to move to the rural communities which are which are listed in the program, and with the job offer, you would be able to file the application. You need 12 months of experience in the last 18 months. That's the requirement for experience. Also, you need to check the website. I don't know the unemployment rates by heart. I did 2 year diploma courses in Canada and BSc from India, but here not started any job till time, passed RN exam. What is the next step? Again, without any work experience, irrespective of the licenses you have, you won't qualify directly. So you have to first gain some experience. Material handler in demand one comes in which occupational category? It's seven. Occupational category is seven. Any updates on AIP endorsement processing times? Um, it depends on the province. Each province, like all four out of all four of them, each of one has their own processing time, but roughly it's about 1 to 3 months. Nav Sidhu asks, which province is best for complete the experience in PSW job, also for PR? Ontario, one of the Atlantic provinces. If you have a job offer, if you're certainly just relying on experience, then yes, Ontario could be an option as well. I've completed study from private college and want to apply. I've already answered this question, Balpreet. I have ban of 1 year and deport from Canada airport. Is there any chance I can come to Canada? Kuldeep, you can come to Canada after that 1 year period has passed, but make sure when you're entering Canada, you have sufficient documentations to prove the purpose of your visit. If you don't have an exact purpose of visit, that could be a problem because the officer will assess your entry based on that. It also depends why you were banned the first time, so we need to kind of assess that information as well. I am in Surrey on closed work permit. Complete my 1 year experience in working as a labor in poultry farm. What about agri food pilot program? My some friend applied but not getting any response from 6 to 8 months. The processing times are not in anybody's hands, so you have to kind of wait for the applications to be assessed. But then yes, since it's a non-federal, sorry, it's a non-express program we're applying under, so it does have a processing time of about 12 to 18 months. If my employer is in Brampton but has a branch in Nova Scotia, Dartmouth, should I ask them to do LMI from Nova Scotia and work in Brampton? No, that's not allowed. So wherever you're working, that's the location you should get an LMI from. Um, I'm not sure which LMI we're talking about. So if we're talking about PR supporting LMI, of course, it has to be from the same location. Um, but if we are doing other LMI, yes, they can say that this is the person in the Brampton location, which we are intending to move to the Dartmouth location. So that's possible too. They can submit. LMI application is employer's application. It's not applicant's application. That is something you have to be, kind of keep in mind. Work permit application is applicant's application. So whatever needs to be proved in the LMI is employer's business, employer's financials. It has nothing to do with the applicant. Only applicant's name and date of birth goes in the LMI application. That's all. Not even the resume or the work history, nothing at all. Balpreet, can you post your question again? Now I don't know which question you were asking. Sultan says 6 month experience as a PSW nursing from India, done two nursing courses here. What's your experience as a PSW? Are you working in where you working, Sultan? Is it in Ontario, outside GTA, inside GTA? Where are you working? It depends on that. The pathways depends on that. Is contractual job IT analyst qualified for international student stream, or is there any other stream like STEM? When we talk about contractual jobs are only applicable where there's experience involved. If we are also involving a job offer, such as international student stream, it's for permanent job offer. It cannot be a contract. It cannot be for part time. It has to be a permanent full time job offer with an indefinite period. And when I say full time, it's 30 hours per week. Okay, so Rajpreet asked, when we get visitors visa on that time we show independent own business, then I think we have to show own fund sponsor is giving my sister. So Even if you have shown the funds, without a sponsor in your initial application, it's up to you. Visitor record, you can do both. You can show your own funds as well, and you can also show your sponsors funds. Irrespective, extensions are pretty straightforward application, so you should not face any problems there. Ravi Kaur asks, latest news on visitor visa by Mark Miller. Can I extend my siblings' visitor visa? At this point, I don't see any effects on the extension. So even if you want to extend your siblings' visitor visa, should not be a problem. The first and the second extensions are usually pretty straightforward. So even if you want to do it, you do it. Should work for you. I don't see any problem as long as you have the financials, a full time job to cover her. It would work. How much experience we have to gain to file an application of material handler in demand stream? In the occupation in demand stream, you need 9 months of experience. It could be with the employer who's supporting you for the PNP. It could be with any other employer, but it has to be in Ontario only. That's how OINP in demand works. It cannot be outside Ontario. And yeah, and they have to give you a median wage as well, as per the job bank. Fahim says, then do I need permanent job for STEM draws? Um, when we say STEM draws, again, if we are talking about express entry or human capital priority stream, both of these categories are as per your experience. But if we are saying international student stream, foreign worker stream, occupation in demand, they are job offer based. So whatever is job offer based need a permanent full time job offer. Whatever's experience based, contracts work, anything else works. You don't have to specifically show that there is a permanent job offer only. It's all experience based. If I get 1 year ban in paper by airport immigration, that paper we get from that is true, or they show 1 year ban and in their system they fill 3 or 5 year ban? No. So if you are saying that you got 1 year ban, that's basically an exclusion order that they issued for you. And it will say that it's an exclusion order, and should be for 1 year. There's no discrepancy in the system, or whatever they gave you. Whatever document they provided you is what is going to be in the system as well. Rushi Patel says, I've received my job offer in March 2024, but due to West documents, it took more time and I've submitted an AIP endorsement in Nova Scotia. So will I be able to get work permit and then the PR? You can file both the applications simultaneously. So once you have your endorsement, you can file your application for permanent residence. You can file your application for work permit in the meantime with the letter of support. And whichever comes first, good for you. So if it's PR, you land as a immigrant. If it's work permit, you come, you join the work, you start working as on a work permit, and in the meanwhile, your PR will be processed. Fahim, you can contact our office at 905-495-8500. Rushi says, I applied for my stay extension in August. Can I apply again in January 2025? Yes. If you have a reason, um, if you have a reason to extend your work permit, if you have a purpose, and you can put your documents, sorry, put that purpose in the documents, definitely you can do any number of extensions. Do we need VES for filing application of interest in material handler? No. Under the occupation in demand, you won't need the VES because you're not scored for the education part. Okay, Sidhu asks, what are the requirements of CLB and education for OINP International Student Stream? I think it's CLB 5. I have to check. I'm sorry, I don't remember that by heart. But I can check that for you for sure. Yeah, so specifically, there's no such requirement, but of course, there are scoring factors. Under the scoring factors, if you have a CLB 6, it will give you some points. CLB 7, it's going to give you more points. But then if you have CLB 5, I think it gives you 0 points. Manish asks, my visa is going to finish January and I already applied my endorsement, so still waiting. So what shall I do? What shall I need to do in Nova Scotia? You have to wait. You have to maintain your visitor status. Again, one thing: if you have applied for any provincial nomination, any permanent residency, and you are on a temporary status, which is finishing up soon, before the decision is made or before you have submitted another PR application, irrespective, until you are granted your permanent residence status, you have to maintain your temporary status. It could be through visitor record, could be through work permit. You have to maintain your legal status in Canada, if irrespective, throughout that time. If I'm working in IT and came after 12th, can I get PR under STEM? It's very The chances are less because you might not qualify for the draws. So when we say STEM and when we say provincial nominations under Ontario Human Capital Priority Stream, that is experience based application, the minimum requirement for that category is bachelor's degree. If you don't have a bachelor's degree, you're not even qualifying for the program altogether. So yes, you have to see whether you are qualifying depending on the program you're applying under. Rana Saeed, आपका बार्बर वाला क्वेश्चन था, आई हैव आंसर्ड इट. सो बार्बर टीयर 3 पोजीशन है. और अगर आप क्लोज वर्क परमिट पे हैं, एक्सपीरियंस आप गेन कर रहे हैं, इट्स अ 6-3 ऑक्यूपेशन. सो यू नीड टू सी वेदर यू क्वालिफाई फॉर द एक्सप्रेस एंट्री विद द पॉइंट सिस्टम, या फिर आपको किसी जॉब ऑफर बेस्ड पीएनपी के थ्रू ही जाना पड़ेगा. इट्स नॉट अ ट्रेड ऑक्यूपेशन कि आप अप्लाई कर सकें. Why the tourists are asked to apply refugees by CBSA on border? It's because when they are asked simple questions as to why are you here, what's the purpose of your visit, they're not able to answer it. They're not able to answer to the officer of why they're there. They're confused. They don't have proper documentation once they're entering Canada, and they leave an impression on the officer that they don't know what they're talking about, and they are not truthful to the purpose of the visit to Canada. As long as whoever is coming to Canada have proper documentation in hand, have all the answers to the CBSA officer. So let's say a CBSA officer asks, why are you in Canada? And you say that you're visiting your sister, let's say. And they're going to ask you, where does your sister stay? What's the name of your sister? If you don't know such basic questions, if you don't, let's say, have a contact number of your sister, is she waiting outside? Do you have proper documentation as an invitation letter, any ID of your sister? What do you do back home? The document says that you're working as, let's say, an IT consultant back home, and you don't know a thing about IT. So there are contradictions to the interview that the CBSA officer asks you on that spot, and that's where the problems start. And that's when they don't ask you to apply for refugee, they ask you to return back to your home country. And out of that, all the statutory questions that they have to ask you one thing, which is, do you fear anybody when you're returning back to your home country? And that's where you say, if you still want to stay in Canada, that's where people say that yes, we fear, even if there's no fear. And that's when the refugees come in. um, Rest, I think you know the story behind all of this. मैं अपनी वाइफ का केस कनाडा फाइल करना चाहता हूँ, मुझे गाइड कर दो. आपकी specifically, Rana, what are we talking about? Are we talking about healthcare? If we're talking about healthcare, you need to give me some context, education, experience, points. So I would recommend, if you want to book a consultation, definitely reach out to our office. uh, yes, Fahim, it's 905-495-8500. When do you think of trade occupations draw? I do think that there could be one draw prior to the conclusion of this year, 2024. So there should be another draw, and we are hoping and waiting for that one as well. Nursing experience, 9 year in Pakistan government job, Dana. Okay, now Next question is about IELTS. How much do you think she can score in her IELTS? And then accordingly, you have to calculate her scores in the express entry and see where she stands. The draws right now for the healthcare are at 440. The last one was 445. So expect somewhere around that score and see what her eligibility could be. Is there any chance of coming more draws of in-demand stream this year? I cannot say for sure, Jot. That's not something I have any data about. Zenu, Masters in Healthcare Management is good course. Am I able to get PGWP and my spouse open work permit? For now, yes, because it's related to healthcare, but we'll know more once they announce their list of field of study that are going to be eligible for the spousal open work permit. But as of now, yes, healthcare management is under the field of labor shortage. Do a session, please, and guide how can we get PR if came after 12th and doing field job in IT. Definitely. See, the problem is our immigration is not one size fit all situation. So we need to see a specific profile, and we need to see whether your profile fits in a certain program or not. If it doesn't, it might not work, but it might work for a friend of yours. So we need to see specifically what fits to your situation, what your language exam results could be. Maybe you know French, your friend doesn't. It changes the entire outlook. Maybe you are at a CLB 9 level, the friend is at a CLB 7 level, changes the entire outlook. So we need to see what kind of profile um, you have, and accordingly we can suggest options. Kuldeep, if you need any consultation regarding the matter, you can contact our office at 905-495-8500. Is IT analyst under in-demand occupation jobs? Yes, at this point, it does fall under the STEM occupation category draws. CCAIT, a part of healthcare, I do know, but I just want to confirm it. Can you give me a full form of CCAIT? I have 16 months course in Trent University in May 2025. So 16 month is must to take spousal open work permit. If you are doing a master's program from Trent University, um, right now the changes that happened for the spousal open work permit, they're not applicable. You can still file the application irrespective if you're a master's student, but the changes are going to be effective from November 1st. So yes, if you when they say 16 months, it's basically 4 semesters. And if you have 4 semesters, you do qualify for spousal open work permit again as of now. Later on, they're also going to assess what field of study your spouse is doing. Um, so yeah, things are going to change after November 1st. IELTS recommended है या French language? Language is something which I don't recommend, which it's something which an applicant knows or are able to kind of learn. So अगर IELTS करते हैं then definitely it helps, but इस टाइम पे अगर हम फ्रेंच के ड्रॉज की बात करते हैं, फ्रेंच लैंग्वेज की बात करते हैं, सो दे आर प्रायोरिटाइजिंग ईच प्रोग्राम बेस्ड ऑन फ्रेंच लैंग्वेज. सो अगर आपके पास फ्रेंच है, they qualify you for French proficiency express entry draws. The RNIP, earlier now RCIP, is also changing and kind of going towards there will be a certain quota for the French minority. So things are changing. French is going to be targeted irrespective. So yes, French will help. If the person is able to do it, then of course it's highly recommended. Continued care assistant in training. Okay, now if we talk about care assistants, we need to see exactly which occupation we're talking about. Are we talking about healthcare occupations as a health support worker, or are we talking about nurse aid? The knock codes change. When the knock codes change, the eligibilities change. So just make sure that you if you're targeting express entry, you have to remain eligible under the tier 0, 1, 2, 3 category. Is there any specific requirement for education for OINP international student stream? Yes, okay. So For the international student stream, you should have graduated from an eligible Ontario institution within the last 2 years of filing the application, not creating expression of interest, filing the application. So let's say you graduated in May of 2022. The last you're going to be eligible is May of 2024. You should be submitting an application before May of 2024, not just qualifying or submitting an expression of interest. You should have received a draw. You should have been able to submit the application, and it should be in processing with the OINP. That's the requirement for OINP International Student Stream. Perfect. Let me just see here, and I think we're going to conclude the session now. Just taking last minute questions, whatever you have, and then we'll end the session for today. If you guys want any one-on-one consultations, you can definitely contact our office at 905-495-8500. Ma'am, is city bus driver a skilled job? 73301. Yes, meet it is a skilled occupation, but I think they were not getting a lot of draws in the last year. I might have to check that for sure, but yes, it is one of the trade occupations. Yeah. So for the year 2024, they never targeted 73301 directly under their skill trades category, experience based, but they did select under their foreign worker stream, international student stream. So yeah, there has to be a job offer involved. I want to ask, is biotechnology in demand? You need to check the express entry category based selection list if you're talking about that. But if we are talking about in demand list, that's going to be announced by November 1st by the IRCC. Can early childhood assistant will be eligible for foreign worker stream Ontario with 2 years of experience? Yes. So if you have 2 years of experience as an early childhood assistant with 2 years of experience and a job offer from an employer, you will be eligible for Ontario job offer. But do calculate your points and see where you stand at that. If you have a good expression of interest points, you should qualify. And they do conduct a lower draw for the early childhood educators and assistants as well under the Ontario PNP. I'll probably go for CSQ with Quebec. Do you apply for Quebec CSQ? No, we do not. We do not deal with Quebec immigration. Perfect. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. If you have, again, any more questions, you can go to our link and book our appointments, or you can call our office at 905-495-8500 for any consultations. If you want to start a process, you can definitely join in then. Thank you so much. Bye now.